Good morning, FB fam. I have the pleasure of having Dr. Anthony with me this morning, author, educator, here on the steps of Ambia School. We're going to do a quick interview and see what Dr. Anthony's talking about. So without further ado, I'm going to let Dr. Anthony speak. Good morning, Dr. Anthony. How are you?
Good morning. Hi.
Excellent.
I was trying to do it without my sunglasses, but the sun is pretty bright.
Right. Well, you know, we can let you put your blockers on if you want, sis.
So they can see my face.
Definitely.
Who I am.
Definitely. We can definitely see your face and who you are. How are you this morning?
I'm great, actually. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. We got a little traffic behind us, but we're gonna move up a little bit and get what you got to say. So, Dr. Anthony, tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so quite naturally, I'm a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor, but I do have a PhD in educational leadership and counseling. And so with that, I work in education in tandem with mental health. So I do see mental health patients, call them consumers, clients, and work on the counseling aspect as well as the education aspect.
Excellent. So you kind of like in that Dr. Umar lane a little bit there, you know?
I need my.
Put your blockers on, sis. Put the blockers on.
Okay, that's better.
All right, there we go.
Kind of. He's psychology. I did take psychology and social work and sociology and things like that or whatever. So he's more of a psychologist than I am.
Okay.
So I'm just strictly on the mental health side with the counseling component.
Understandable. Okay. All right. So you just stick where your credentials are.
Staying in my lane.
Right. Well, you know, so many people in the District of Columbia, they have degrees, but they often work outside their degrees. Would you like to expound on that a little bit?
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, I have several degrees. I have a degree in social work, and so I worked in social work a little bit. Wasn't really feeling it. Went back and got my master's in education, doctorate in education as well. And so I think that's where my niche is education, because every time I try to leave it, God always say that, you know, he has a different plan for my life, and I'm always, you know, reverted back to education.
Okay.
So sometimes it's based off of the people's happiness. And, you know, when they complete those degrees, they feel like, you know what, I don't really want to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then they look for something where they feel like they're more needed.
Right, where they can contribute a little more, maybe.
Correct.
Right.
And where their happiness lies. So, I mean, you know, that happens to the best of us.
Well, I mean, you know, I can understand that. Following your happiness can sometimes be important. I think that's a great bit of advice that a jewel you just dropped there. You know, even though you get your degrees and you get along in your career, you know, sometimes it's important to go with, you know, what makes you happy. Correct. You know, because then you can do it more effectively, I think, you know.
Exactly.
Yes. Tell us a little more about your book.
So my first book is called At the Gator Park, and you can find it on Amazon. All you have to do is just Google At the Gator Park and put in my name.
At the Gator Park, okay.
Dr. Tawana Anthony, and I have 2 more books that are about to come out. The
Excellent.
Enchanted Columns and Roscoe and Kevin Yang, The Wild Cactus. Those will be dropping this summer.
Excellent. They got to make sure you go out and get that, folks.
Yes, and my memoir, Beauty and Brains, a Blessing and a Curse.
Yes.
Coming out.
We're going to talk about that in a sec.
Before December.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
You got the people waiting at you, Dr. Anthony.
Look.
It's only a moment before superstardom, doctor, because we're going to talk to these people out here. Yes. The new talking head out here.
Yes.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk about women professionals and the pressure. I want to talk about the whole dynamic, dating, everything. I know we got to get into it, short amount of time, but for you, Dr. Anthony, this is a small feat. You can handle this.
I can handle it.
All right.
It's not a problem. Women and professionals, I find that.
Wait, let me interject though, because you got talking heads out there like Kevin Samuels telling women, hey, you're gonna die alone and all this other stuff, you know, and you know, what do you have to say to women out there on that same?
That's not necessarily true. Everyone has, you know, it's a person out there for everyone. You just have to be patient and diligent and find that person that's there for you.
So it's not what Kevin Samuels says about your weight and your hair color and how many kids you have.
I've been big, I've gained weight, I've been small, and I still pull them. It
Okay.
has nothing to do with that. It's about your self-confidence. It's about you as a person.
Right.
And, you clicking with the person that you're trying to get to know, basically.
It's more about chemistry of spirits.
Yeah, basically, because, the old people used to say, you have to be equally yoked. And that is correct. You have to be, in connection with one another. And if you're not, it's never going to work. It's not about, your weight. And, and I'm not saying that some people are not hung up on weight and things like that. Some people are.
Yeah.
And that's not your person.
But then maybe again, he's talking about a certain lane of men that get to an elitist level.
But even with that being said, you need to date in your lane. Date
in your lane.
Date where you feel comfortable at, and with the people that you feel comfortable at. If you know someone, for example, when I was in LA, we went to the club. So you have to stand in line in LA, and they pick who they want to go in the club. So
by what standard?
By your beauty. So if you already know that you're not living up to the par of these people or whatever, why would you interject yourself in that situation?
Why subject yourself to that?
Correct.
Right.
So we went to the club. We were selected, of course. My girls.
Okay, you and your girl.
Right. But at the same time, I saw like some years ago that this dark-skinned chick, she was trying to sue the club and saying that she wasn't selected, they discriminated, this, that, and the other. But it wasn't discrimination because they had already put it out there that, our clientele like a certain look in a certain woman. So if you go into the establishment trying to change what they already have established, that is not discrimination. That's just you being, someone who's trying to interject yourself in their process.
So what you're saying in essential is why try to subject yourself to someone's preconceived notion of what beauty and worth is,
basically, when
you know that they already have a preset way of thinking and value system that could possibly be flawed.
Basically, because it's even with like the beauty products for such a long time, it was perpetuated that white women are beautiful and black women are not. So it's basically your confidence and what you believe in and what you look at for yourself. Right. You can't base your standards of beauty based off of someone else's. Because if we do that, then we're not going to ever live up to the par, and we're not going to ever live up to what they have to say or what they think is beautiful. People think I'm ugly. You know what I'm saying?
But Dr. Anthony, but let me ask you something.
Yes.
On the real, right?
Yes.
Do you feel that it's easier for you to get male attention because you're light skinned?
I don't think it's just that, but some people look at it like that or whatever, but I think it's my personality and how I carry myself. I think if I was darker, I would still be able to pull the amount of people that, want to talk to me and that are attracted to me.
Right.
And like I said, it's all about your self-confidence and, you owning your worth. You have to know your worth, and you have to know what,
Yeah, without that, you're dead in the water.
Yeah, you have to understand your beauty, your limitations, your this, because we're all beautiful in our own way. And like I said, some people think I'm ugly. Do I care? No, because your opinion of me does not matter.
Okay.
It does not, make me feel any less than because you don't think that I'm attractive. Okay, next. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all about the person and the woman. And as far as these, like relationship gurus, and especially the one that got caught cheating or whatever, I just feel like I just feel like
you don't have no problem booking them, Dr. Anthony.
No, I don't.
You don't have any problem at all. Okay.
So I just feel like they all have something with them or whatever. They all have skeletons in our closet, because who doesn't? We all do. You know what I'm saying? But for you to tell a woman that you're not going to get a man because of your weight, you're not going to get a man because you look this way, you're destroying that woman's, character. You're destroying her personality. You're destroying her self-worth. You're destroying all that because she's now taking up on a sense and a role of what you're saying and, idolizing what you're saying and using that as a standard of her beauty.
I'm going to ask you,
looking in the mirror,
I'm going to interject and I'm going to ask you a very serious question. I heard Kevin Samuels raise a question to a black woman, and it was, why can't you date a plumber? Why can't you date an electrician? Why can't you date a construction laborer? They make good money. They have the skills that pay the bills. And why can't you look at the, women look at or be content or satisfied with the, the level of men where they're at?
Well, like I said before, you need to date in your lane. And you need to understand that sometimes you may overstep your boundaries and, another person is not within your reach or on your level or basically in your lane. So if you know that this man is an elitist and he dates a certain type of woman, why would you
subject yourself to that?
And getting turned down and getting ridiculed or whatever. You know that you don't fit into his repertoire,
his mold, his preconceived mold.
Correct. Of what this man wants in a woman. Quite naturally, he wants one looks like a Barbie or whatever. And if you don't look like that, and this is what
I think that's what they look for in you, Dr. Anthony, the Barbie, because I seen you on enough yachts. Yay.
They can look for whatever.
That's right.
I keep it real. This is what you get, and if you can't accept me and all of me, then we can't have any conversation, and that's just the bottom line.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to sell myself short, or I'm not going to drop my standards because you feel like I should just to be with you. That's not happening.
Right.
So
just to get a suitable suitor.
Right. Yeah. You got the wrong woman.
Right. So the suggestion from you to young ladies is
be who you are.
Be who you are.
Yeah. And
be confident in yourself.
Be confident in yourself. Love yourself.
Right.
And that person that you're looking for or who is looking for you is gonna be out there. Don't drop your standards for just anybody. Just to say, oh, I have a man.
Okay. Just say you gotta
keep your standards and maintain who you are and maintain what you want and what you believe. You shouldn't live your life based off of what anybody says or who controls their standards of beauty. You're beautiful within yourself. You control your own standard of beauty, and that's the way you should function and live.
Absolutely. Well, that is a wealth of information right there in and of itself. So in the future, we're going to do some segments, Dr. Anthony, where people can reach out and talk to you about, how they feel about themselves inside, building self-esteem,
they can do that.
Dating, all of the, intricacies that are involved in dating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they can do that.
So in the future, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, society as a whole. Let me tackle another tough subject that's just out here. I don't know if it's a fallacy, a rumor, but do black women still want and need black men?
Oh, of course, quite naturally, every day, all day.
So the sisters, the groups that you talk to in the circles there, they want a good black man. So I want to send a positive message out there to brothers.
The thing about it is we do want a good black man, but oftentimes men of stature and men of elite status, they don't want us.
In the black community.
They want other women of other races and things like that, and we're not knocking that. That if that's what you like, that's what you like. But at the same token, don't look at us as the enemy, and don't look at us in a negative way, saying that we're too loud, we're too this, we're too that. We've earned the right to be loud. We've earned the right to be spoken.
Speak on that. Oh wow.
For the simple reason is we're always being downplayed. We're always being disrespected. But at the end of the day, when you are being harassed by the police, or our brothers are being shot down in the police, who's out there? Black women, and we've been out there supporting you, and we still support you. We love our brothers, but we just don't want to be disrespected. And black women are tough. I'm not going to say that because I know
because
I am.
You've been.
But
you
the thing about it is,
that
we love differently, and it's not the fact that we don't want to submit. We want to submit, but we're going to submit to the right guy. We're not going to submit to someone who's playing video games and still living with his mama and can't make no decisions.
Hold up, Dr. Andy. I live with my mama. I don't like video games. I live with my mama.
You different. Okay. We want somebody who's a leader that can lead us. We're not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna submit to someone who's not that person. You have to be able to, manage your household. Even though we may make more money than you, but you still gotta demand and manage your household as the man of the house. And all right, can I
ask a question about that? Because that was a heavy piece right there.
Yeah.
All right. For the men out here who don't make as much as your woman, okay, you hearing it from a doctor, a professional. She is willing to submit, and a lot of other professional women are in her lane who are willing to submit. But what they're asking is for the guys to step up,
basically.
Right? So you gotta come to the table, and you gotta either have the skills right? Or
'Cause we're not raising no men. That's
right.
what your mama there for. We're not raising no grown ass man. Excuse my language.
Uh-huh.
And the thing about it is,
you're not finishing.
You can't be jealous of us if we make more money. It's not about the money. It's about the respect, and it's about you handling your business inside of the household. We don't have a problem with submitting, but if you can't handle your business inside the household, then that's going to be a problem for us, and that's where we fall short and where we have issues with the man.
So you think that there's the greatest rift right there, the black woman's ability to earn income on the same level as the black man?
I mean, we can earn
but
income.
But we know that system has been instituted for a reason.
Right,
right?
But the thing about it is, you said that, black men like plumbers and things like that. We don't have a problem with having a husband who has a trade, who works hard and, take care of his family. The issue is when it comes to, the household, he's not handling his business with running the household. He has to be able to lead his household, regardless of the income, the finances, or whatever. He has to be able to lead his family and guide his family and protect his family. And if he can't do that, then we're not accepting it, and that's just the bottom line. Okay,
so black women have a standard, and they're just not going for just any old thing.
We're not.
And that's understandable. I don't have a problem with that. I just think that black men out here need to get the right message.
I think so too, and I think social media.
It's not that they're just not needed; they're desperately needed.
Social media and basically TV and things have sent this perpetuated the fraud of like this rift between our communities and our black men and our black women.
And there's really not.
There's not a rift,
because people still talking, people still dating, they sleeping with each other.
They are.
It's getting on. It's getting on. Our people are getting on.
What we're not tolerating is the foolishness. That's what we're not tolerating.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
substandard behavior.
Correct. With the substandard behavior, you can't possibly treat a woman poor and expect her to stand by you and not do anything. If you're always demeaning her, talking down, belittling her, and then when she responds and acts crazy, oh, she got a problem, she's loud, she this, but what did you do to make her that way? You never talk about the journey.
You
never talk about, what you have done, because there's always two sides to every story.
There's always two sides.
And you want to, at the end result, when the woman has taken all that she can take and she's handled all that she can handle and she reacts, then you want to say, oh, she's crazy, she's loud, she this, but what did you do? You know what I'm saying? Because we don't just automatically jump ship and act like that. What did you do along the way?
Accept the responsibility.
Yeah, and
inside the relationship dynamic.
Right.
Yeah, instead of trying to assess blame on the other.
Exactly. And some of the brothers that marry outside their race, we don't want you anyway. You know what I'm saying? You were from the jump,
you're a castaway anyway. You were a throwaway.
You were basically a throwaway, and we don't want you anyway, or whatever.
All
based
right.
off of your behavior,
because
based off of what you
I will say this, Dr. Anthony, the black woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't ever date outside the race or marry outside the race, because I think black women are the dopest of all women on the planet.
And that's
if you look at all of the women on the planet, assess them equally, across a playing field, I think our women are more seasoned, more cultured, more gifted. I really feel this, and I don't feel that it's a racist thing to say.
And that's okay to say that.
I'm just proud of my people.
I'm not knocking, interrelational race.
I am.
No, I'm not, because I've dated outside my race a couple of times or whatever, and it wasn't a problem. So my thing is, you date who you date, you like who you like, but you prefer one over the other, and it's okay to prefer one over the other. It's not a problem. It's just your own personal preference. But because you do, don't go out here and say, black women are the problem. That's why we date, women of other races. Don't demean black women, but you just say, I prefer this type of woman over this type of woman without belittling her. And a lot of times, black women are belittled because, some are dark skinned. There are beautiful black women in all shades, and they should not be belittled because, the skin tone or the hue is a little bit darker than,
I'm going to ask a question here.
Yes.
Because it's a Dr. Umar talking point that we should absolutely positively not date outside of our race, because we're trying to build wealth for our community. And when you date outside your race and when you marry outside your race, that doesn't necessarily trap the black dollar the way we want to trap it in our community through generational.
I mean, he can come with that point or whatever. But like I said,
Yeah.
love
Well,
is
what
love.
do you have? What would you say?
There.
Okay.
I'm get there. Love is love, and you date who you want. You marry who you want. I don't have no problem with that. Because I can't control your home. I can't control who you love. I can't control any of that. So for me to say you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z is, it would be, negative on my part. You do what you want. But as far as, the black community and the black dollar, we need to, educate our young and, build, financial literacy in terms
Proper
of how
education.
in terms of how to market the black dollar and where the spending is happening. You can marry wherever, but you can also contribute to your community and to your race. The guy, what's his name? I think his name is Robert Johnson, where he paid off all the student loans for the black college graduates or whatever.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's married to a white woman, so he still contributed to.
So he's contributing before his death. I think Dr. Umar is talking about wealth that is transferred after death, like a spouse, a man who's black who's going to live less time than a white woman who he's married to.
But at the end of the day, he may leave his wife something, but his children are still black. One ounce, a drop of blood, his children are still black. You know what I'm saying? But you still can.
Do you think those kids will identify with the white power structure more than they do?
I think it depends on their family dynamics and how well they're accepted into the white family and into their white community.
So you do think it's possible for a child born in a mixed marriage to still identify with his race, the black race, and have allegiance? Because Dr. Umar is saying that black people need to have allegiance to who they are psychologically.
I don't think that being interracial has anything to do with having allegiance. I mean, because if you look at it, all of us are kind of mixed with something. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I just think it depends on the person. I mean, because having allegiance doesn't mean that you hate your race or you hate somebody else's race. It's that you have allegiance. We say every morning that we pledge allegiance to the United States. So we're pledging allegiance to this. So why can't we, regardless of background, who mixture or whatever, can't have allegiance to something? Because you have some white activists who are more down than some black. So race to me,
who are willing to go further,
correct.
Who are involved in a higher level.
It doesn't at the same time.
Excellent. Well, I mean, I think in the future we'd have to get maybe Dr. Umar, and have a session live, and we discuss these different points, because he's calling for us to name ourselves now, to give us our collective community, the black community, one name that we would properly move through. And I kind of agree with this, because I think that we have not been properly named. I think we've been named by others. Government agencies have, pushed, but
I consider myself black. I don't consider myself African American because I didn't migrate from Africa. My ancestors did, so I was born in the United States in Louisiana. So I'm a Black American.
Okay.
So just a little history about African American. The term was coined back in the 80s with Jesse Jackson and some other people. So they were trying to come up collectively with a name for the black community. Right. So they did not want to use black, so they came up with African American because it bode well with the white community.
Then we were Afro-Americans for a while too,
yes,
right?
Afro-Americans and things like that, and it bode well with the white community, so African Americans stuck or whatever. But the issue is, people from Africa, they don't really consider us African, which we're not. Our ancestors are, so they are really not in tune with us, in which we should all be in tune together. But it's
I think
still
so
some
too.
tension and some differences there.
I honestly think that we should be a part of the movement to go back to Africa.
I'm not going back to Africa.
Okay.
I'm staying right here. I'll go visit, but I'm not going back to Africa. I mean, that's a little asinine to me or whatever.
Dr. Umar thinks that
that's Dr. Umar. I mean, even some other ones. Garvey, he wanted to build a ship and go back to Africa and things like that. What are we going back to? Please answer that. You know what I'm saying? What are we going back to?
Okay.
We have no roots there. We have, everything is here. Our lineage started here, even though we have, ancestry, over there or whatever. But what are we going to, and who are our ancestors? We don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Because that information was denied to us. So when we go back to Africa, what we going to?
Good point. Okay, we'll come back on another interview and tackle that, right?
Yes.
But for now, right, what we're going to move on to is, okay, since back to Africa is something that you're not a proponent of, let's talk about what we can do right here to change things in our immediate vicinity and reality.
So, you take people like, let's use Michael Jordan, for example, because he's always donating to, the university that he attended and things like that or whatever. So even though you make it out the hood, you should still buy the hood, buying homes and, things like that or whatever, helping the community, just giving back, the simplest little things can cause, the neighborhood to change and things like that. And like I said, it's based off of education and, basically modeling what you want the young people to pick up. For example, my son, I never let him as a child watch, like BET,
You
MTV.
kept him off that. That's because that's psychological programming.
Correct. I kept him off that until he got ready to go into the 9th grade.
All right.
And, as a little one, he never watched that. So everything he learned from us. And everything that we instilled in him, he learned from us. He didn't learn from TV and he didn't learn from media.
And he is now successful.
He is successful. So
excellent.
It's, like they say, it takes
so
a
there's
village.
a method. There's a method.
It is a method to the madness, but you can't be mad when, someone is out there doing whatever, and you have never taught them, So,
right, the difference.
Right. So, with that being said, they can come back, they can model, they can, put in community programs. There was this white investor in Florida. He adopted a community and he invested all this money into the community. And when he started investing all this money into the community, the children started to excel, the crime rate dropped, graduation rate increased by, so much.
Right.
So, if you want people to change, you have to be the change. You can't be the problem and not, spark the change. So they have to come back into the community.
So you hear that, people? Be a part of the goddamn solution.
Got to be a part of the solution.
Yes, ma'am.
We have to take ownership for our community. We have to take ownership for our people. We can't wait for, like they say, the man to do anything. We have to start, investing in our children, investing in our communities, and investing in our people in order for our people to succeed and be, more confident and confident within themselves.
Right. So, in essence, it starts with the home.
It does.
This is what I heard, and it starts young.
It does.
Okay, so what she's saying is it starts in the home, it starts young, and you have to shape your child's reality by what you allow them to consume visually, auditorially. You have to be on top of that.
You do. I mean, we're the only race of people that depends on the school system to teach our children.
I think that curriculum is flawed.
I mean, I don't necessarily say the curriculum is flawed, but at the same time,
in the area of African American studies and self-awareness.
But that's where it comes in with learning in the home. Our children go to school basically as a blank slate. I'm not saying that all of them, but most of the parents don't work with their children. They don't teach their children at home, and so when they come to school, they're already behind. Whereas in other communities, they're already working with their children. They're already doing this. They're already doing
coaching them up. Coaching them up.
Most of the kindergartners and like white, Asian, and other communities, they go to school reading already. Our children don't. Some of our children are still in Pampers when they go to school. So like you said, it starts in the home. So we have to work to build what we want our children to do. And even with African American studies, we have to teach our children. We can't wait for these people to teach our children because they're not. They're going to teach them what they want them to know, and that's very limited information. Malcolm Martin and things like that, Rosa Parks, that's it. We have so many others, Medgar Evers, Marcus Garvey, so many others that Frederick Douglass,
John Heinrich Clark,
correct, that we can introduce our children to. But at the same time, like I said, we as a community, we have to teach our children. We have to work with our children on these things. They're not going to do it inside the school, and if you're waiting on the school to do it, it's not going to happen. Dr.
Anthony, it's so wonderful to have you this morning and get a little information for you. Like all good things, this too must end. Okay.
Hold on before you end it. So
okay.
You made a comment about professional women.
Yes.
And we didn't get a chance to touch upon that. I just
feel
like there's a lot of hate when it comes to like professional women, especially with black women. Most of them feel intimidated by. I mean, I've experienced it, so I know firsthand.
Let's
So
talk
most of
about
them-
these hate groups, period. Let's talk about
Most
how
of them
counterproductive that is.
Yeah, because the thing, for example, I work in education or whatever, so like, I get a lot of hate in that field instead of looking what I can bring to the table or what I can add as a professional or whatever. It's trying to stifle me in my growth, trying to stifle me in what I do and what I want to do and stuff like that or whatever. So I mean, it's a lot of hate there. I've experienced more hate from black women than I have from any other racial group.
Wow.
But it's always that level of intimidation, and like I tell people all the time, I'm gonna be who I am regardless, and I'm gonna demand respect.
Yes.
And in every aspect, in every corner, you may not like me, but you're going to respect me, and that's just the bottom line.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
And
So-
I think, and I just really think we hurt each other with the hate instead of the self-love, because
Right.
we could be so much more further along.
So
without
much
all
more
the-
effective.
So
So
much
much.
more effective without the hate, without the hate. Oh, because she looks a certain way, she drives this, she drives that, she carry herself like this. Oh, she's light skinned, she's from Louisiana, she has freckles, she does this, so it's just one thing after the other. Instead of,
Silly,
what-
minor idiosyncrasies. that we-
Right. Instead of what I can bring to the table and, using my intelligence for the positive.
Yes. All right. So, I think that we touched on a good basket of topics, things that we can dig into later on,
Yes.
and that you can expound on. But like all good things, this particular interview got to come to an end. But I think there's a lot of jewels in here, and I hope a lot of people get the opportunity to view this, Dr. Anthony. You're a wealth of information, a treasure in our community, and we're so very glad to have you here.
Thank
So,
you.
for the people out there, look for Dr. Anthony, or on her question and answer series that she's going to be doing. We're going to do it on Facebook Live. We'll give you people an opportunity. I'm going to promote it for a specific day and time, and we're going to give you people an opportunity to reach out and ask personal questions about education, about your kids in school, get some advice on how to proceed that way. If your kid has special needs, what have you. So we want to be the information source to our people. We want to be behind the engine that makes our people successful, okay? And Dr. Anthony, it was so very, very pleasant to have you this morning.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Well, it won't be the last. So.
All right. You're going to come back and talk to me again, Dr. Anthony? See, I am so blessed to have friends like Dr. Anthony.
I will come back.
So, thank you very much. I appreciate you expounding on all the topics that you did this morning, and be blessed. Thank you, family.